This video is the third video that looks at the United States after the Cold War and after 9/11. It is the first video that focuses on American foreign policy, looking at economic challenges. This video connects to U.S. History Content Statement 33, focusing on foreign policy. The United States faces ongoing economic, political, military, and social challenges in the post-Cold War era and following the attacks of September 11, 2001. The post-Cold War period and attacks on September 11, 2001 presented new foreign policy challenges for the United States. Economic challenges of a globalized world have led to the following: international demand for the US dollar, balance of trade, international economic partnerships such as the World Economic Forum and World Trade Organization, and outsourcing of US jobs. Looking closer at international demand for the US dollar. The US dollar is the primary reserve currency for the world. This means that the US dollar is held in significant amounts at central banks for many nations around the world. The US dollar is often used in international transactions. For example, a product such as oil may be sold between two countries using the US dollar instead of having to convert between the two nations' unique currencies. The US dollar has held the status as a primary reserve currency for the world since the end of World War II. Among the benefits of this status of the US dollar for America is that it is easier for our government to borrow money at a lower cost, and sanctions that our government imposes on foreign countries have more power. The US may impose sanctions on a nation for violating international nuclear weapons agreements, for example. The fact that the US has such a large trade deficit isn't as big of a deal for America because of the status of the US dollar as the primary reserve currency of the world. There are also drawbacks to the US dollar being the primary reserve currency. US exports become more expensive than exports from other countries, which is part of the reason why less things are made in the US and sold to other countries. This in turn has cost people in the US jobs. The picture on the right shows recent U.S. economic headlines related to America's trade deficit. Throughout your lifetime, and for several decades before you were born, the U.S. has maintained a trade deficit. This means that the U.S. imports or buys items from other countries more than it exports items it sells to other countries. This is the reason why there are less manufacturing jobs in America. For us as a consumer, this has also contributed to lower prices for items, as we are buying things that are made cheaper in other countries. Let's say you are wearing a pair of shoes that were made in China and that you bought them at a store in the Eastwood Mall in Niles. Think about how much more it would cost for the company to ship those shoes from China to Niles than from a similar company to ship from Girard to Niles if there was a shoe factory in Girard. Even with those increased shipping costs, making the shoes in China are cheaper than making them at a factory in, say, Girard in America, due to lower production costs, such as lower pay for the workers in China. Even if you bought shoes online with free shipping, the shipping wasn't free, but rather rolled into the price that you were charged. Back to the news headlines. As you can see, current U.S. trade deficits are very high, even when compared to recent years. The United States is a member of a number of international economic partnerships. Among those are the World Economic Forum and World Trade Organization. The purpose of these groups is to improve the global economy. In a globalized world like the one we live in, it makes sense for the U.S. to be involved in partnerships with other nations. However, critics of these groups feel they focus too much on the interests of the extremely wealthy and contribute to the growing gap between the rich and the poor throughout the world. Also, groups such as the World Economic Forum and World Trade Organization are criticized for not doing enough for global issues, such as environmental challenges, and instead focusing more on profits. Many American jobs have been lost due to outsourcing. Outsourcing is when a U.S. company hires foreign workers instead of American workers. This is a way for companies to keep costs in the production of their product down. For example, if that company operates a call center for customer concerns, it may be cheaper for the company to operate that call center in India, where the population also speaks English, but can be paid less than operating that call center somewhere in America, where they would have to pay the call center employee more due to wage laws and a higher standard of living in America. Outsourcing does lead to lower prices, which is a positive for American consumers. It is a negative, however, because it also leads to increased unemployment. Areas such as manufacturing, technology, call centers, and human resources are the hardest hit in America by outsourcing. Outsourcing is not the only cause of the unemployment in America. Other factors, including increased number of jobs that can be done through automation, also leads to lost jobs.